In New York tonight, the jury began considering its verdict in a trial that could well have a huge bearing on the presidential elections there, the Donald Trump hush money trial. And as the jury retired, the former president came out to rail against the case against him. Mother Teresa could not beat these charges, he said, adding, "The whole thing is rigged." Perhaps he thinks the verdict is a foregone conclusion. Perhaps, too, it was a message aimed at drumming up support.
Now, even for his die-hard supporters, there is nothing to do but wait. The arguments in court are over. The witnesses and evidence have been presented. On one level, this is a case of minor business fraud, but at the same time, it may prove of seismic political significance.
Trump's legal fate is now in the hands of 12 Manhattanites.
A verdict could come at any time.
The TV networks are projecting this as a trial for the history books.
To make one of the biggest decisions of their lives.
Complete with clocks tracking the duration of jury deliberations.
What will the verdict be? Is the die already cast?
And indeed, the verdict may have a major impact on the current presidential election.
The 2024 election is, count 'em, 160 days away.
Donald Trump arrived at the courthouse this morning, at first breaking his habit of speaking to the cameras, before changing his mind and indicating that he knows conviction is a distinct possibility by suggesting that even a saint would be found guilty by this jury.
Mother Teresa could not beat these charges. These charges are rigged. The whole thing is rigged. The whole country's a mess between the borders and fake elections, and you have a trial like this where the judge is so conflicted he can't breathe. He's got to do his job. And it's not for me, that I can tell you. It's a disgrace. And I mean that. Mother Teresa could not beat those charges, but we'll see.
If he is convicted, Trump will be the first former president ever to be found guilty of a crime. But that does not mean automatic prison time.
The judge has an option. He can do everything from saying, I'll release you on your own recognizance, go and sin no more. He could impose a fine. He could give him probation. He could sentence him to up to 4 years in prison.
This verdict may take time. The 12 New York jurors are weighing 34 felony charges of falsifying business records. And they are undoubtedly aware the world is watching.
And Robert, is there any sense of how big the political implications of any verdict will be?
Well, the jury's gone home, first of all, tonight after 4 hours and 37 minutes of deliberation, so we know certainly no verdict tonight. I think it's remarkably difficult, actually, to assess the political ramifications of a verdict, given that we're still 5 months out from a presidential election. I mean, certainly a conviction could damage Donald Trump amongst independent and centrist voters. Even 4% of his own loyalists say they might reconsider their vote if he's convicted. But on the other hand, you know, Donald Trump's views of him are so entrenched in this country, and polls are remarkably stable. I mean, they show that Donald Trump is ahead in 5 of the six battleground states, and he has been that way for much of this year. And I think a bit like in Britain, you know, voters are preoccupied with the economy, with inflation, with crime and immigration. So it might be that those issues take Donald Trump back to the White House rather than the opinions and the verdict of 12 jurors here in Lower Manhattan. So this verdict, dramatic though it may be, could end up being less pivotal than we imagine right now.
Robert in New York, thank you.